right after high school. When I got my graduation, I was drafted within a week after high school. I was inducted. And then I went from there to Mineral Wells, Texas. And the name of that place was Camp Walters. That's where I took 3 months training, was Camp Walters, Texas. Oh, I was in the 25th Infantry, 27th Regiment. Getting shot was the worst part of it, you know, worrying about getting shot all the time. Or blowed up, you know. Them Japs put, like they do in Iraq, they put them little landmines everywhere. But they wasn't powerful like Iraq was, but they would blow a leg off or something, you know. And then they banzaied us, which means they made a run on us every night. There'd be, oh, I don't know, 100 of them come storming your foxholes. And that happened nearly every night. Because it was raining nearly every night. And them Japanese could see after dark like a dog can. They could go through that brush at night just like a dog could, you know. And we'd do our running around the daytime chasing them, and they had them big old underground caverns over there, cemented. I had a picture of one of them where we blowed the end of it out with some citric acid or TNT, I don't remember. They'd go 2 or 3 miles underground with cement enclosures underground. Because they was over there they was over there about 2 years before we got there, you know. So they had time enough to build bunkers and cement bunkers and caverns. And that's hard to root out, you know, because they didn't care about their life. They didn't care about getting killed. Because all they was told, don't come home unless you whoop the enemy. Stay over there till you whoop the enemy. Don't come home. Not like us wanting the troops to come home from Iraq for Christmas, you know. The Japanese told them to stay over and fight us until they whooped us or they got killed, one or the other. It was kind of rough. And like I say, nobody wore no rank, because if you wore rank, you'd have to expose yourself a lot more. Nobody. Only way we could tell high up officers was their age. Like if a general come through there checking on us, he'd be probably 40 years old, you know. And there we was 18 or 19 or something. We could tell they was way up even though they wore no stars or nothing. We lost so many guys that nobody had any experience, so they just come around and said, we're making you a sergeant. And there wasn't nothing you do about it. You either took it or they'd court-martial you. So that's the reason I was a sergeant. I didn't want it, but they told me I had to be a sergeant. So I did. I was a sergeant then. But I'd have to lead patrols, you know. And that was leading down, and I carried the flamethrower. And that was a lot more riskier than if I'd have been an enlisted man, I'd have been back to the back of the patrol, you know. But that was part of it. There's not very many of us guys left anymore. I'm 83, you know, and they're going real fast, guys my age. I kept up with them for 40 years. First thing I done, I put in a welding shop on West Reno in Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. When I got discharged, the government gave us a training period, and I learned how to weld. Well, there in Shawnee, I grew up at Bethel. Well, there wasn't nothing going on at Bethel. So Shawnee was real dead too. So I went to Oklahoma City and put me in a little welding shop. I built truck bodies. Then I had a brother in the paratroopers. He was over in Eastern Europe. When he got his discharge, why, we went together and put in a welding shop on West Reno in Oklahoma City. That's where I first met Hank Thompson. He'd walk up Reno there and put his play card in the windows. I'm talking about 1949. And that's how I met him, and that's how I wear his cap all the time. We was good friends. So I sold the welding shop and went back to Shawnee, and my brother and I started building subdivisions. We'd buy 60 acres of land or something, and put water and sewer and paving and build houses on it. And that's what I done for, I guess, 60 years was construction work, all kinds of construction work. And we was doing a job down in Franklin, Tennessee, and we met old Porter Wagner there in Nashville. And IRS was squeezing him for some tax money, and he was trying to sell his recording studio on South Music Road there. And we wound up buying that, which was a mistake. We ran that till we got done with our project over in Tennessee there at Franklin, and finally sold that recording studio. Because it didn't make no difference how good you could sing. You had to have somebody sponsoring you that had lots of money.
Yeah.
Because it'd take lots of money to get you out before the public. Porter Wagner was his name, and Dolly Parton, you know, you've heard of her.
Yes.
It was that studio was quite a layout. But I took 10,000 people through there, and all of them could sing real good. That didn't make no difference. You had to get the news people behind you, and all the big TV companies behind you. And we just stayed in the construction business and built a lot of commercial stuff. And I built a lot in Ada, and Durant, Shawnee, Pawhuska, Muskogee, just everywhere. But I stayed in Oklahoma. I didn't accept that. We went to Tennessee down there. But the rest of the time we was in Oklahoma building. Where did I serve?
Yes.
In the Army?
Yes.
A lot of different places. The first place we landed was New Caledonia. I don't know whether you've ever heard of that. It was a French island. We took train there for a while to hit Guadalcanal. We went to Guadalcanal, and after we left there, we went to wherever they raised that flag up there. We stayed there a while. And that's an authentic picture of that flag raising in Iwo Jima.
Mm-hmm.
We had guys from Yank magazine that took pictures for us, and Argosy magazine, just like over in Iraq, you know, they got news people over there getting killed all the time. And them guys they drawed a good salary. So they took most of my pictures. I took a lot of them, but I had one of them with me when I'd take patrols. Mm-hmm. Until he got hurt near killed, he quit. But then we left there and went to, I went to Australia for a while and trained to hit the Philippines. And then we was in the Philippines for a year before that was all over. And then I went to Japan. I was one of the first troops in Japan. And I got to look at them bomb sites. You can't imagine what one of them atomic bombs will do. And now they're 10,000 times as strong as they was when they dropped them over there. Mm-hmm. Now they're so much stronger, they'd tear up 10,000 times as much damage. And it killed 200,000 over there in Nagasaki alone. course, about 67,000 of them died with radiation after the bombs went off later, you know. Of course, the government didn't tell me nothing about, or nobody about radiation. We didn't know nothing about radiation.
So you don't have no clue about the radiation?
We didn't know nothing about the bombs till they went off, you know. We was glad they went off, though, because that took care of them right quick. They was ready for settlement. But unless you see where one of them things go off, you can't imagine the damage they do. Anything metal, it just blows it into a ball of steel, like a freight train, and just blow it up there in the air, and it just wind up a ball of steel and hit the ground. Railroad tracks would just roll up for miles. Just roll them up because they're steel, and they held atoms. Wood didn't hold atoms, and some of them big old trees there in Japan, it'd blow the limbs off of them, but it wouldn't turn them to dust like it would other stuff, you know. But most of it, about a 10-mile radius there of just powder, about 6 inches, 4 inches deep, just old white powder. You walk in it, it just, that's the reason I got radiation so quick, you know. They give me a pair of rubber gloves and a poncho. Told me to take pictures of everything. Well, I'd take that poncho off to take pictures, you know. I wound up 5 days. I just worked 5 days and wound up with radiation. Of course, they said I had malaria. But on the way home, my teeth come out, my hair come out. Now I have to have these falsies, you know. Well, the Army officials knew. They just didn't want to get everybody excited about it, you know. They kept it to themselves. It was a year before they ever let people know exactly what happened with the big bombs. Truman was president back then, Harry Truman, and we were sure glad he dropped them because that ended the war in 11 days after he dropped them. The war was over there. You know. Oh, them Japs, they had us hemmed up a time or two up by Lady Pass. They was just like over in Iraq. There'd be big bunches of them here and big bunches of them in caves. It took us 6 months to figure out where they was at and kill them, you know. And we captured a few of them, not very many, but a few of them. But out of 135, there's just 15 of us left in my company. Now, all of them didn't get killed. Some of them they took back with legs blowed off and arms blowed off, and malaria and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you'd get a letter from home about every 6 months. You'd get a letter from home. You never knew when you was going to get a letter or something, you know. My mother sent me a fruit cake for Christmas, and I got it the following August. And it was just a chunk of dried bread in that bucket. It was in a tin bucket, and it was just dried up in that bucket. And it took it about, I don't know, 6, 7 months to get over there. Well, we was up all night because the Japs that hit us by night, so nobody slept at night.
Yeah.
Daytime, if we didn't get a patrol to go out or something, we'd take turns and sleep. And look for some place to get water, you know. Of course, most of the time they had to drop water to us out of planes. Them creek beds was full of dead Japs and animals that you couldn't drink it. If you come to a creek, you couldn't drink it. And it was a mess to get drinking water over there. We'd just pile them Japs up in a big pile, just like 20 or 30 or 100 in a pile, and then whenever we could get a bulldozer up there from behind the lines, we'd dig a pit and cover them up, you know. Americans would carry them back to the ship, you know. And I don't know whether I had a picture in there about the graveyard there in the Philippines, but boy, we had a slew of dead ones there in the Philippines. Oh, we didn't try to keep track of them Japs, but they didn't. Just like when my toes got to where I couldn't hardly walk, well, they didn't give you no sedatives or nothing. They just hit that one with a plastic mallet, you know. Oh, I went 39 days without taking my boots or leggings or nothing off, and my feet got to swelling up. Finally, I went to the aid station. About 2 miles down the line towards the ship, we had an aid station. And we kept a perimeter of soldiers around it to keep them Japs from wiping them out, you know. Well, I decided I'd go back and let them look at my feet, because, boy, they was hurting. And I had to walk every day with a patrol, you know, usually every day. Oh, aid boy says, take off your boot and legging and set your foot up here on this stool. Let me examine it. Well, I took it off. Man, it was sore, and I put it up there on that stool. He just took a little old plastic mallet and whop. Of course, I took care of it. Black pus just flew everywhere. But it liked to knock me out. I mean, he didn't give me no sedative. He says, let's look at that other foot. And I said, hell, it ain't bothering me a bit. That other feels good. But they had so many guys that, you know, shot and grenades that hit them, and they didn't have time to feel sorry for nobody. I was supposed to got 300 when I got my discharge up in Kansas. But they just give me 200, and they said we're out of funds right now, but when we get some more funds, we'll send you that other 100. I never did get that other 100. I'd call them, and they'd say, well, we're still out of funds. Oh, my family, my daddy was done dead. He died when I was 14. Yeah. And my mother had a hard time, boy. There's four boys and 2 girls in my family. She was just making $1 a day cooking there at that Bethel school. And, of course, her rent was just $5 a month. It was all the rent was there, and that just a 1-bedroom deal. I slept on the van. The rest of the kids was all here and there, and some of them were married. And I was the baby of the family. And I'm the only one left, too. All my brothers and sisters, and daddy and mother, and all gone. Just me and my wife's all that's left. No, my brother, I had another brother, just older than me, went to paratroopers, 101. But the reason they said I couldn't go to the paratroopers, in the 8th grade, I broke my ankle playing basketball. They said, oh, you couldn't make it. And the paratroopers jumping out of them planes. But they walked us every day, 10 over and 10 back from Weatherford to Mineral Wells. That's 20 miles a day. That leg, they didn't say nothing about that bad leg walking over there. But this was, they was drafting everybody back then. They'd run out of troops. Yeah. If you could blow your nose and comb your hair, well, they'd draft you, boy. On Saturday, I racked balls at the pool hall. Yeah. I made, let's see, what did I make? 70 cents? $1.25, and they give me a hamburger for dinner, I believe. All day for $1.25, and then they give me a hamburger for dinner. And then I had to ride a bicycle 6 miles to Bethel. It was 6 miles from the pool hall to Bethel. Yeah. And on Saturdays, I made that $1 and got me a free hamburger. Times was hard then, boy. Yeah. Well, when I got out of World War II there, they gave us a training deal. And I went to the training deal. become a welder, and welded there for a year. I sold the welding shop and done something else. Then I built a motel in Shawnee, and it's still going. Cinderella Motor Hotel. I don't know whether you know where that's at or not.
No.
West side of Shawnee over there. If you ever want to learn to whistle, just start riding them freight trains. I rode them for pretty near 2 years. In the valley, there's real coarse. There's real coarse. Of course, these damn teeth, I can't whistle now. Up in a high altitude, they'd. But since I got these false teeth, I can't hardly whistle. If I do, I'll blow them out.